I am so excited that you have started taking the right steps in securing your business. My name is Josiah Phillipson, and I am the owner and consultant at NextTech Consultants. And we've created this business security checklist just for you guys. We want to make sure that if you're running your business and you just can't get a consultant and you're not sure what to do, this checklist will walk you through the steps that you need to do to secure your business. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through those 5 steps in the checklist. We have email, network, computers, website, and then just some general tips. So I'm going to take you through each step, and we're going to go through that right now. And if you do have questions, feel free to let me know. You can reach out to us at support@nexttechconsultants.com, and we'd be happy to help you out. So let's hop over to that checklist and I'll walk through it right now. So at this point of time, you should have already received your business security checklist. If you haven't, you can go to security-checklist.nexttechconsultants.com and sign up for the security checklist. If you've already done that, it should be in your inbox, ready for you to download. So now that you've done that and you've signed up, what you'll have received is this business security checklist. And so as we scroll down, like I mentioned, there are 5 categories. And to start off is email. So the first thing you need to do with your email is you have to have SPF and DKIM records. These records are going to allow you to send email more secure and make sure that they flow to people's inbox without going into spam. And if you need help setting them up, we have this cool little link here that'll help you watch a video. If you're watching one and it shows Outlook, there is a link in the description of the video that will take you to Gmail. I think both of these default to Outlook. So go ahead and go to these videos and I'll help you set up those records, and then your email will flow better. Spam filters are really important because if you want to make sure you have spam filtered out of your business so people aren't wasting time trying to filter through their email. So there's a lot of services like Barracuda spam filtering. If you have Microsoft, you can kind of set up their spam filtering in the way that you need it, but take that time and set up spam filtering. The next step is watch out for spam, because even with the best spam filters, you're going to have emails that come through that might say, hey, I want to get some credentials for you. I want to get some information from you. And some of your customers or some of your employees might click on them and give information they shouldn't. So I have a video there that you can watch. It helps describe different things to watch out for and different spam emails and how to proceed. Also, this is one of my personal pet peeves, but use a business email, not a Gmail or Yahoo email account. The reason for this is that Gmail and Yahoo are free for a reason. The company can scrape your email addresses and get any information they want and use that for marketing tools. So the reason you sign up for a business email account is because you have then signed a business agreement with them and they don't scrape it. And you can also, if an employee leaves and you're using that gmail.com account, you have no rights to that email. They just take all their email, all the confidential information that they've shared in your organization with them. So you want to make sure you are owning the rights to your email, sign that business agreement, and pay that little bit per month to make sure that you have a branded domain name email. I do have videos on how to set that up and I'll link them here. What's really cool about this checklist is I will be creating more videos as time goes. So this checklist, every time you download it, will just be better and better. The videos are on our YouTube channel. It's NextTech Consultants. And all those videos are there and they explain how to go through each of these steps. So your network, this is like, think of your network as like Wi-Fi or plugging into your computer into an Ethernet jack. Your network is essentially how you access the internet and how you access printers or how guests don't have access to the printer. So that brings us to our first step, which is create a guest network. This is really important. A lot of people will create a guest network and think it's a guest network because they say guest in the name. Typically, that's not true. If you have a guest network, you want it to be segregated from your real network. So that way, if I connect to the guest network, I can't access files on Susie's computer, or I can't access the printer that's down the hall and print things for free or inappropriately and cause issues in your work environment. So you want to make sure that guest network really is segregated. And one way you can do that, you can connect to the guest network. And if you can't ping or access any of the files or printers, if you say add a printer on a Windows machine, and if it pops up with a printer, it's not a true guest network. That's one way to check it. The next part is probably the hardest thing on this checklist, is to create and review firewall logs. Typically, we use services that will scrape logs for access denied or port denied or specific IPs that try to access something and get denied over and over and over again. So you first need a firewall, and then you need a process to review and create processes to do something with those logs to make sure that your network is secure and you aren't having people trying to attack or get into your network. And then with that firewall and everything else you have set up, now you can create a VPN network. And what that does is it allows people outside of your organization, like if you're at a coffee shop, it's a good idea to VPN back to your work. So that way you have a secure environment where people can't scrape the data that you had on your computers or on the traffic that's going back and forth in their Wi-Fi. So creating that VPN, it's a virtual private network. What it does, it allows you to access information without worrying as much about people on that same public Wi-Fi accessing that data that you're sending back and forth. All right, so after networks, now we're gonna go down to computers. And you can see here, obviously, number one, install an antivirus. Most likely do not install the first free antivirus that comes up, because a lot of times a free antivirus comes with things that make your computer slower. They do it to try to entice you to buy it. So what I would recommend is buying an antivirus. So we use Webroot Business Security, or we use Trend Micro, which is what we actually currently use with all of our clients. We use Trend Micro, it's XDR. And it allows us to scan computers for virus, malware. It will automatically detect ransomware going off and shut it down. So make sure that you're installing an antivirus that can help your business. And if you have questions with that, let us know. And again, our email is support@nexttechconsultants.com, and we'd be happy to answer questions for that. Next thing is check computer updates. Make sure your computer is up to date. I know it's frustrating. I get it. You get that update and it's like, oh, I need to update my computer, and you click wait because you don't want to do it now. Just make sure that you do it soon. There's a reason updates come out. A lot of them are security updates. Like one of the most recent security issues that happened was called Log4j. Essentially, it allowed people to access your computers in a really roundabout way, but inject code that would allow them to do anything they want on their computer. So these updates came out quickly after that and patched systems to make sure that that vulnerability wasn't breached. So make sure that you're updating your computers, make sure you're checking for updates, or you have automatic updates installed. Next is install a backup software. I don't really care which one. There's a lot of great ones out there. At our company, we use CrashPlan because it's a great price, and you get unlimited backup on up to 4 devices for $10 a month. And it allows you to back up all your files, revision history, everything. And just make sure that you have a good backup for your computer. So you can see here, there's a video here. It kind of walks you through that install, kind of talks about backups. There's also how to back up to an external hard drive on our YouTube channel. So feel free to check that out. Finally, don't leave your computer unattended. Like when you walk away from your computer, lock it. If you're on a Windows, all you have to do is press the Windows key and L. If you're on a Mac, when you walk away, go to the Apple in the top left and say lock computer. It's really important. You don't want people to access your data. One of the horror stories I have is a counselor. They actually locked their computer, but it wasn't an encrypted drive. And they left their computer sitting on a table at a conference. They walked away to use the restroom real quick, came back thinking nothing of it, and a HIPAA compliant regulator found it, and they actually got fined $100,000 for leaving their laptop on the desk, and it was unencrypted. Do not leave your computer unattended. If you have HIPAA related data, encrypt that drive. But just make sure that you're not leaving it unlocked. Even if you're at a closed office and you're just in a workspace where just your employees are, make sure you lock it real quick and then come right back. At our work where I used to work at, if you left your computer unlocked, they would put different screen savers or change file names or put an appointment that says, hey, lock my computer, and then repeat it. So they just kind of do things to help you remember to lock your computer. I don't suggest you do that, but it was pretty funny. You'd come back and you'd have a different desktop. So make sure you lock your computer. That's essentially what it comes down to. So now we're going to scroll down. There's 2 more spots we have left. We have a website. A website's kind of a big one because it's It's your external facing, and you want to make sure that's really secure so people can't scrape information from the users that come to your website. First, use an SSL cert. That should be standard. If you're not using an SSL cert, you also get lowered in Google rankings. So make sure that your site has an SSL cert. You can buy them from GoDaddy. You can use CertBot if you're familiar with that process to get a free cert that will auto renew every 3 months. It's a phenomenal program. So check out CertBot if you're more tech savvy. If not, you can buy it from the place that's hosting your website or something like that, or GoDaddy or another service. Finally, check with your host to make sure your server is up to date. Again, that vulnerability I talked about earlier, the Log4j one, make sure your server is constantly up to date. You don't want to fall behind and have your server vulnerable to attacks. You also want to update your third-party plugins. If you're using WordPress, for example, that could be Shopify, MailChimp. Make sure those are up to date and ready to use. They put out a lot of security patches. That's why it constantly is always updating. So make sure you're following those updates and it's working for you. An ORM is essentially the program you use to manage your website. So it's WordPress, Wix, Cascade is a big one. Make sure that's updated. If your ORM comes out of date, essentially that's the same problems. You do have security risks that they patch that are still vulnerable on your computers. So I know it's a bit of time, but make sure you update that WordPress site, update all the plugins and do all of that. Another kind of general tip is if you are holding sensitive data on your website where people can log in and access it, offer MFA. You should always offer MFA and try to maybe even require it. If it's HIPAA compliant, you have to require it, but make sure you're offering MFA to your clients or customers so they can do a two-factor authentication. That's what multi-factor authentication. So two-factor authentication into the website so their data can't be compromised. Finally, remove old admin accounts. This is a big one. If you have an admin that is still on your WordPress site or website that is no longer with your company, remove them right away. There is no reason they should ever access that again. Get rid of them so that way they can't access your website and do something malicious to your site. Cross-site scripting, make sure that's disabled. That's one where basically if I'm, let's say nexttechconsultants.com tries to send a script to your website, let's say it's mybusiness.com, make sure that we can't send a script to execute onto your server. There's very specific use cases where this is okay. So make sure that in most cases, 99% of the time, disable cross-site scripting. We'll have a video up later about that and how to do it. So keep downloading this checklist and we'll make sure that's there. Check our YouTube channel. Again, it's nexttechconsultants.com. And if you're having issues again, just reach out to us at support@nexttechconsultants.com and we'd be happy to walk you through these steps and make sure that your business is secure. Finally, enable security alerts to monitor and respond to incidents. Incidents are going to happen. No matter what you do, you're going to have an incident. So make sure you have a process in place to monitor and respond to those. Whether you're reviewing logs or viewing your website changes, make sure you're monitoring that and you have a plan to respond accordingly. For example, like if your website gets breached, you want to make sure that if your customers were attacked and their data was taken, do you need to then offer credit monitoring to them? Things like that, where you have a plan in place so that way when it happens, you have a plan so you aren't freaking out trying to then scramble to make that plan. That'll cost you way more money than if you start now and create your plan so you're ready for it. All right, so finally our last area, it's kind of our general area, just some good security advice for everyone. Use a password manager. That's our first one. We use Keeper Security. I find it really helpful because you can share folders, and this video goes over that, kind of the benefits of using a password manager. So make sure that you're using a password manager and not writing them on sticky notes. I know, I see you guys. If you look over there, you're looking at your monitor, look down at the bottom, there's a sticky note that says computer password. Don't do that. Use a password manager. So that way, if I walk up to your computer, I can't access your computer. Make sure you're using password manager so that doesn't happen. Finally, with a password manager, you don't ever reuse passwords. You can scramble and get a secure password that's different for every single site because you don't have to remember it. You just have to remember the one password to get into your password manager. that has multi-factor auth enabled, so nobody else can breach into your account. And then you don't ever reuse a password on multiple sites. The downside of that is, for example, let's say in my email, I use a password, and then on my bank, I use a password. If they breach my email will alert me and say, hey, you were breached. We forced you to change your password. But what now if they go over to my bank and they log into my bank account because I use the same password? Make sure you're not reusing them. And we talked a little bit about multi-factor authentication already, but turn it on for all of your accounts that allow it. It's really important so that way people can't breach into your account and act like you as they're moving forward in the business. Finally, if you're giving any sort of PII information, which is personal identifiable information, this could be your name, your address, this is anything that can identify you, just think twice about it. You don't want to just give that information out to anyone. They can use it to scrape information. They can use it to see that you're a real person and then get more information on you. So if you're giving it out, make sure it's for a good reason. Don't just sign up for the next cool thing because, hey, this looks like a cool website, so I'm going to put in all my information. Just think twice about it. That's the biggest thing. Finally, create a plan for when an attack happens. We talked about this a little bit in enabling security alerts in our website, but create a plan for when something happens, whether that's insurance personally or for your business that protects you for any sort of identity theft or something like that. That's a plan. Make sure you have a plan in place. So if you get attacked or something happens to your accounts, you can quickly shut them off. You can quickly contact the right people, and you don't have to then battle it for years, like I've heard with some people where they got their identity attacked and they've lasted them. I think one person I know, it took 5 years and they're still battling it. So make sure that you have a plan in place. So if you do get attacked or when you get attacked, to make it the least amount of work when you're already stressed out, finding out your identity got stolen, the less amount of work you have to do at that point and just follow a checklist that says, hey, this is what I need to do is better. And finally, like I mentioned earlier, I'm so excited that you chose to download this checklist and secure your business. If you do have any questions, I'm more than happy to help you out. Just reach out to us. You can schedule a free consultation with us, and we'll review your business and your needs and talk about how we can work together and partner together to make sure that your business is secure. All right, again, thank you so much for joining and downloading this checklist. I really hope that it's going to help your business in some way. And I look forward to working with you, whether it's through our YouTube channel and you get help that way, or if you reach out to us and we start partnering together so we can help support your business. I know this list is overwhelming, but these are all of the things that I do with my clients to make sure that they're secure and make sure that when an attack happens, that we're able to respond. And if they get ransomware, that we can back up files and restore them, and they will lose up to 15 minutes worth of time rather than years of data that's been stored. So again, thank you so much for downloading this business security checklist, and I look forward to working with you. Have a great day.